Hello and welcome to today's seated breathwork and gentle stretch. For today's class, we'll mostly be seated on our mat, so taking any comfortable position that you can. We'll be here for at least the next 10 minutes seated. So you might be cross-legged at the top of your mat, or option to sit on a block or cushion, or any other variations that you know will work for you. Making sure that our spine is up nice and tall, maybe closing through the eyes if we're feeling comfortable with that, or maybe just keeping a soft gaze. Tuning in here, maybe setting an intention for our practice. And we'll just start with a few deep cleansing breaths here, taking this time to ground into our practice. Keeping an awareness of how your inhales and exhales feel in your body. We'll start with some deep diaphragmatic breaths, so I'll lead us through this. We'll start with our hands on the belly here, both hands on the lower belly. As we inhale, thinking of fully extending the belly out like a balloon, taking a nice deep inhale and sending all the breath all the way to the bottom of the belly. And then as we exhale, we'll let that go, contracting through the abdomen, extending our exhale as long as we can. We'll repeat this a couple more times. With each inhale, trying to push our belly out, trying to fill it up with as much air as we can. And then exhaling fully, releasing all of the air out that we can. We'll repeat this one more time here. Inhaling fully all the way down to the bottom of the belly. And then exhale to let that all go. We'll place the hands to the sides of the ribs here, and as we inhale, thinking of extending out as wide as we can, pushing the sides of the ribs into the hands. And exhaling to contract here, making ourselves small again. Inhaling to extend out fully, coming out as wide as we can with each breath. And then exhale, knitting the ribs back in, releasing out as much air as we can here. We'll repeat this one more time. Inhaling fully through the sides of the waist. And then exhaling to let that go. And then we'll place our hands on our chest here. And with each inhale, thinking of extending the chest, puffing it up as much as you can. Exhale to let that go. We'll repeat this twice more. Inhaling to fill the chest up with as much air as you can, breathing deeply into this space. And exhaling to let that go, extending your exhale, letting out as much air as you can. Repeating this one more time. Inhaling deeply, filling up the chest with air. Exhaling to let that go slowly. We'll keep the left hand on the chest here, dropping the right hand down to the belly, and we'll put this all together. So as we start to inhale, we'll inhale to through the belly, and then the sides of the waist, and lastly the chest. And then letting that all go, exhaling first through the chest, then the ribs, and lastly the belly. We'll repeat this a few more times, just in our own time here, starting to weave these parts all together. Starting to make the movements a little bit more fluid and taking our time as we inhale, fully expanding our vessel, breathing deeply into the belly, ribs, and then chest. And exhaling to let that all go. Repeating for just a couple more breaths here, again in our own time. No rush, making these inhales and exhales as long as you can. We'll slowly start to come back to our natural breath, dropping the hands back to our knees and letting go of any control, continuing to breathe deeply, now more naturally, and just taking note of how your breaths feel compared to the beginning of your practice. Remembering to breathe deeply through the entire sequence. We'll start with some neck circles here in either direction, rolling your neck out slowly and mindfully, and intentionally in either direction here, taking your time and continuing to breathe deeply as we move. And then we'll take our circles in the opposite direction here, keeping the spine up nice and tall. We'll then place both hands to our heart, applying a bit of gentle pressure as we start to bring the chin up towards the sky, feeling a nice deep stretch through the front of the neck. Option here to clench your jaw if you want a bit of a deeper stretch. Again, breathing deeply here as we feel a nice fascial stretch through the front of the neck, maybe bringing the chin up even higher, maybe pushing the hands downwards to stretch even deeper. And then we'll bring it back to center here, letting go with the hands, placing the left hand down to the ground beside you, and then bringing the right ear to your shoulder, feeling a bit of a side stretch through the neck here. Option again to clench your jaw for a bit of a deeper stretch. And continuing to breathe deeply, both hips remain planted on the earth. And then we'll take it over to the other side. This time right hand goes out beside you, bending the neck so that the left ear comes down to the left shoulder, maybe clenching through the jaw, maybe even lifting the neck up slightly, lifting the chin up to feel a bit of a deep stretch through the front and side of the neck. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then we'll let that go, coming back to center here, coming into our eagle arms here. Our first variation is to grab a hold of opposite shoulder with your right arm underneath. This is option number 1. Or if eagle arms is in your practice, starting to interlace your arms together, pressing your forearms together to get a bit of a deeper stretch, making sure those hands are away from the face and that your elbows are lifted up nice and tall here. Staying here for a few deep breaths. And then starting to fold forward, elbows come down towards your ankles, continuing to press your forearms together and feel a deep stretch between the shoulder blades. From here, we'll start to make big circles here with the arms, keeping both hips planted on the ground, making big circles in either direction. And then taking those circles in the opposite direction. We'll start to slow it down, bring it back to center, starting to let that go. And then bringing your hands back into eagle here, or hands to shoulders with your left arm underneath this time. Keeping those elbows up nice and high, hands pressed together and away from the face. Pushing our forearms together here. Seated up nice and tall. And then folding forward. Elbows come down towards your ankles. Continuing to press the forearms together, hands together here. And then taking those big circles in either direction. And then taking the circles in the opposite direction here. We'll start to bring that back to center and let that go. Spine is up nice and tall. From here, we'll change the cross of our legs, so making sure that the opposite leg is out in front this time. And then we'll slowly start to lean our torso forward here. Keeping our spine up nice and straight. And then maybe placing our forearms down onto the earth if that's available, feeling a nice deep stretch into the glutes here. Continuing to breathe deeply, only going as far as you can, keeping both glutes down on the earth. And pushing your hands back up, switching so that the other foot is back out in front. And then slowly coming down, leaning forward here, either staying up on the hands or maybe bringing the forearms down to the earth. Taking a few deep breaths here, feeling a nice deep stretch into the glutes. We'll then start to push up through the hands. Bringing our legs out wide here into a straddle position, keeping the toes pointed up towards the sky. We'll start to place our right hand to the inside of the left thigh and then sweep our left arm up and over, coming into a bit of a side bend here, making sure that left shoulder blade is down the back, keeping the chest up high, maybe gazing up towards the left hand. Maybe pressing that right hand down into the earth here. And then coming back up and taking it to the other side. Left hand comes down to the inside of the right thigh. Right arm sweeps up and over, keeping the chest up towards the sky so we're not doming down through the spine. Maybe gazing up towards that right hand. Then coming back up to center here. We'll bring our legs together here for our Dandasana, staff pose. Sweeping our arms all the way up towards the sky with an inhale, and then exhale to fold forward, placing our hands either to the outside of the feet, ankles, or calves. Inhale to lengthen through the spine and exhale to fold even deeper. Maybe rounding through this neck here, letting go just a little bit, making this fold just a little bit more passive. Maybe letting go of the grip onto your legs. We'll start to roll all the way back up here. And then slowly rolling all the way back onto our backs. Planting the left foot onto the ground, then crossing the right foot on top of the left knee here for our figure 4. From here, we'll scoot our hips over slightly to the right, and then drop our right foot down on the earth, keeping our legs exactly as they are. If this isn't available, maybe just stacking the right knee on top of the left, otherwise staying in our figure 4 position here, getting a nice stretch into the IT band, making sure that both shoulders are down on the ground, maybe gazing over that right shoulder. Arms can be in a T-shape or a cactus position. We'll start to slow down our breath here, feeling this nice twist through the spine. And then coming back to center, placing our right foot down onto the ground and switching the cross of our legs here. Left ankle over the right knee, shifting the hips over to the left, and then dropping that left foot down towards the right side. Arms remain out long, shoulders on the ground. And maybe gazing over that left shoulder for a couple of breaths. Maintaining a deep awareness of our breath and how it feels. And then coming back up to center here, hugging the knees in one last time, maybe rocking side to side. Maybe taking a happy baby or any last moves that you'd like to come into before extending long into our final resting pose. Taking your time here. Slowly coming back out into Shavasana. Taking up as much space as you need and dropping the weight of your entire body, feeling supported by the earth. Option to pause the video here if you'd like, if you know that you'd like to stay a while in your Shavasana. Otherwise, I'll call you back when it's time. Fully relaxed here. Feel the effects of your practice with nowhere else to be but here and now. Free to stay as long as you'd like. Otherwise, if you're ready to start coming back, wiggling through the fingertips and toes, making circles with the wrists and ankles, taking the circles in the opposite direction, maybe taking a nice long stretch here before we start to roll over onto either side, bringing your knees in for a fetal position and staying here for just a moment. Keeping your eyes either closed or with a soft gaze. We'll start to push up into the top hand, come into a seated position at the top of our mat, bringing our awareness back to our breath here and into our bodies. Taking a moment to thank ourselves for showing up in our practice, for doing something good for ourselves. Bringing our hands to prayer and taking a humble bow of gratitude. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.